And we're live. Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty. And as I mentioned on my Facebook page, I was supposed to do this yesterday because there's so much new stuff out this week that I'm trying to get through 2 a day when it comes to my reviews. But I got bogged down with some other stuff, and it ended up being a bit late in the day for me to even get started on it. So I thought, you know what, I'll come in, get it done tomorrow morning. So I came in, and this morning I've read from Scout Comics, Murder Hobo. I'm going to write there for you. And it's one that I was kind of interested in because, well, if you're a role player, tabletop role player at all, you're probably familiar with the term murder hobo. And I am. So I was. And I thought, cool, I'll see what it's like. If you're not, on the back, it has a convenient little descriptor for you. A murder hobo, noun, plural, murder hobos. Role-playing game, derogatory slang. A player character who wanders the game world unattached to any community, indiscriminately killing and looting. And effectively what that means is if you're kind of playing a character who... his entire goal is to get as much XP and treasure as possible. You don't really care about anything. It's just about murdering people and then moving on to the next place and murdering more people, or elves, or goblins, or dragons, or whatever. It is a derogatory term. It's the idea of like the most simple kind of type of role playing experience where it's all about like getting the highest number in gold and experience and bonuses and stuff, rather than actually playing a game because you enjoy the world and you want to play a nice character and you want to interact with other people. It's effectively an insult. That's what it is. So I was like, okay, how do you make a comic book about this terrible kind of thing and still make it entertaining? And for a start, you kind of just have to say that they heavily lean into it. And they also lean really far into deliberately trying to be gross and adult-oriented. This is not one for kids. In case you're curious, actually has an 18 plus rating on it. Now, comic books technically don't have like a rating system at all. There's nothing really stopping me selling any comic book here to anybody of any age. We occasionally do get asked by parents if it's like, oh, my kid really likes Deadpool. Can you read the comic books? I'm like, how old is the kid? Oh, he's 9. Probably not then, no. This is one of those that's like even worse than that kind of thing. A lot of stuff in Deadpool is, just over like uber violence, bad language. There's not really much like terrible adult content, but if you've seen the movie, it can get that way. Murder Hobo is full of everything that you don't want your kids to see. Bad language, like right from the get-go, graphic injuries, and an abundance of sex. And done like in kind of not a stylish, classy, romantic way either. It's unpleasantly done. And that's kind of the point of it, though. I think if I was trying to sell it you as like, some cool epic fantasy thing and it had a sexual encounter scene in it and it was, nicely, tastefully handled, it could have been a very different comic book. But because of the style of it, including the art style, that's kind of not going to happen. I've tried to find a page which sums up the artwork, but doesn't have anything which is like vastly inappropriate in case like anybody clicks on this that shouldn't do. And that's the best I can come up with. Well, that's how I lost the eye. The style reminds me more of, I'd say, like a Ren and Stimpy cartoon. Like, you ever watch Ren and Stimpy when every once in a while they do like a really tight pull on one of the characters and it'll just be like a single frame and you'll see like all the detail of like the skin lesions and hairs and spots, and it's just unpleasant. And it's even worse because you're like right pulled up close to it and it's a still image, so you got the time to properly see what's wrong. This entire book is like that. It's not like as detailed, but it doesn't take long before you start just seeing just the sheer levels of gross the artist is trying to get across. And that grotesque is the point of it. Now, did I enjoy it? Yeah, I kind of did. It's definitely not the best thing I've ever read, but I don't think it's trying to be. It's leaning so far into the grotesque that it almost becomes a parody of itself on purpose. Like, it's not trying not to do this. It's also kind of done by people who clearly know role playing, because they play it on just tropes which they're stuff that pretty much every role player had encountered at some point, I think, and like myself included, where you meet a guy in a tavern and he joins your adventuring party, and then you go and speak to some people you want to get to help you out, and he just murders them all because they're orcs. And it's like, yeah, I've had games where I've had player characters just suddenly make that decision, and everyone else around the table has been sitting there going, "What the hell is going on here?" So it's clearly done from a place of admiration for the hobby of role playing, and the fact that they go as grotesque as they do is a deliberate, obvious choice. I'd say it even goes to the point where they're trying to do something that people will be talking about because it's gross. Like, that's the point of it. It's not necessarily just a thing that happens to be in the comic book. The intent is absolutely clear. It's certainly not for everyone. Like, if you never role played in your life, you're probably not going to be something you're going to pick up. But if you do want something that's, you know, just full of absolutely terrible, crude humor and body gags and all manner of stuff like that, if that's what you're wanting, it does it brilliantly. Cannot be denied. What it sets out to do, it absolutely 100% does. Right, that's my time up, so I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to try and get another one done. If you're watching this and fancy True Lies in Fabulous Killjoys, I'm going to read that, and hopefully, if I get everything else out of the way, should get that one done by the end of the day for you. Anyway, that's it from me. Bye!